Hi, my name is David Abad, and today I will be talking about my project, Improving Urban and Rural Composting, which is based on a problem statement by the Saskatchewan Waste Reduction Council. According to the SWRC, 81% of cities have access to some form of residential composting program, compared to 56% of towns and 15% of villages. Out of all these composting programs, only one of these programs is able to accept all organic matter, while the rest are primarily limited to only yard waste. From this, we see there's a huge discrepancy between urban and rural composting programs and a need to integrate food waste into these programs. Furthermore, we see there's a disconnect between agriculture and composting. Although composting plays a major role in modern sustainable farming practice, programs such as Agriculture in the Classroom mention it briefly or not at all. And if it's not being taught in the classroom, the general public is likely to be unaware of composting, let alone try to compost on their own. Lastly, even if people were aware, the existing resources and expertise for composting, including rebates and workshops, are available mainly in urban areas and are less available in rural ones. My solution to this is a three-pronged approach in order to address 4 of the Sustainable Development Goals. Starting with the first prong, education. It begins with reconnecting agriculture and composting, starting in our classrooms. Partnering with existing classroom programs, such as Agriculture in the Classroom, and utilizing the expertise of the SWRC, we can create teaching materials and activities to be made for youth to empower them with the knowledge to make conscious choices on how they deal with food waste. Composting is able to be connected to core curricular outcomes for all age groups and can easily connect to a wide variety of classes, and is complementary to community garden programs, especially at schools. The community gardens and compost programs are able to serve as important education tools to help students gain practical and hands-on opportunities that reflect the curriculum. The Green Action Center offers some educational activities that can come with composting, such as conducting waste audits, graphing internal compost temperatures, and comparing plant growth with and without compost. The next prong is implementation. To encourage locally sourced compost for community gardens, we need to show that it can work for communities without access to residential composting programs. Graduate House and the McEwen Gardens can serve as a proof of concept that is roughly comparable to the size of a school or small community. This implementation can be done in a scaling approach with phases to minimize risk and cost, and act as a framework for other places and other contexts. Graduate House is ideal because the University of Saskatchewan is in need of a composting program on campus and is not included within the City of Saskatoon's composting program. It has close proximity to resources, funding, and expertise, and is the host of many workshops in the city on composting, and is less than 2 kilometers from 2 potential curing sites for their compost, being Marquee Hall as well as the science test plots. The final prong is training. As these programs start to be implemented in a variety of scales, they will create a demand for training and workers. Larger communities and application will require more training. The SWRC is able to provide expertise for simpler composting techniques such as aerated static pile, while the Composting Council of Canada can provide training and certification for more advanced techniques. The hiring of these workers can easily be subsidized up to 75% by the federal Green Jobs programs for municipalities ready to take that step. The Seven Oaks School Division in Winnipeg, Manitoba is an example of what a successful program could look like. While they spend less per student than the provincial average, they collect and process compost within their school division and actively involve community members while coexisting with the growing municipal composting program in Winnipeg. The compost is able to utilize organic waste of all kinds from schools and school activities to enhance and sustain community initiatives. Each school has a dedicated compost coordinator who is trained, as well as experts in industrial composting at the compost processing facility. My solution is able to directly address 4 of the Sustainable Development Goals. SDG 4 by closing the gap of educational opportunities between urban and rural communities with composting education, SDG 8 by creating employment opportunities and demand for composting expertise and training, SDG 11 by creating the beginning of sustainable infrastructure in communities, and SDG 12 by bringing to light food waste and providing opportunities to responsibly deal with our food waste. Through my solution, the SWRC will be able to spark change and continue to promote and grow composting programs across the province for years to come.